Hi, I'm Luke Gary, and for my senior project, I'll be constructing a CNC router. I'll be using this router to primarily construct printed circuit boards. In this video, I'll be demonstrating the dangers and hazards involved when making printed circuit boards using the conventional method. The conventional method being using a toner transfer mask onto a blank printed circuit board and etching away the copper using an acidic solution. When traditionally making circuit boards, 4 things are needed. The first is a toner mask. The second is a piece of copper-clad circuit board cut from a larger piece of stock. The third is a hot iron. And the fourth is an acidic etching solution. One must first use the toner mask and transfer it with heat onto the board using the iron. Once you have transferred the etching mask onto the piece of copper-clad circuit board, you then proceed to submerge the circuit board into your etchant solution. This etchant solution is a solution of hydrochloric acid and hydrogen peroxide. This etchant solution will then proceed to dissolve the copper away and leave what is left under the mask behind. This forms the traces of your circuit board, like so. These black lines are copper traces covered in a thin layer of plastic. Once this process is completed, the plastic mask is then taken away with acetone and then polished and then covered in a thin layer of tin. This solution is used, called liquid tin, to cover the board in tin. Tin aids the soldering process and allows for the copper traces to be protected from dangerous oxide buildup, which would prevent solder to adhering to the board. To properly make a printed circuit board using this method, one must first clean the copper before attaching the mask. This can be done with a piece of Scotch-Brite or a piece of very fine grit sandpaper. This process removes oxides from the top layer of the circuit board, therefore allowing the layer, which will be not exposed to the etchant solution, to be very pure copper and therefore very easily soldered later on. When ironing on my circuit board with my household iron, I'll be doing this atop a large heatsink. This heatsink will prevent me from burning my work area. I will now turn my iron to the hottest maximum setting. Once my iron is heated up, I'll then proceed to lay my mask face side down on top of the board and center it however I wish. In this case, I provided lots of extra copper and I will trim the board down to size later. I will now proceed to lock the piece of paper in place atop the piece of copper. As you can see, you can begin to make out the shape of the transfer. This means that the plastic has left the paper and now attached itself to the copper. Once you have evenly transferred all of the toner, then remove your iron, turn it off, and allow the board to cool down. The next step will be to move the piece of paper, leaving nothing but the transfer behind. And this will allow the water to soak into the paper, allowing it to be lifted off and scratched away, leaving nothing but the plastic toner behind. The etching solution is very corrosive and can damage your skin. Other etchants may be used that aren't as corrosive, but they will not be as aggressive, and they can stain very badly. To begin etching your board, first make sure that your workspace is very clean and free of metal and dangerous materials that will react to your etching, such as wrenches, other circuit boards, toenail clippers, and parts. Once you've cleared your workspace, be sure that you have a container which will not be harmed by the etching solution, a larger container to contain any spillage that may occur, and a container with water that you will use to rinse the board once it is done. First, add the etching solution. This is a solution of 1 part hydrochloric acid, 2 parts hydrogen peroxide. Be careful, this mixture is very toxic. And the green color is due to copper ions and copper particles dissolved within the solution. Once your etching solution has been poured, then submerge the board under it. As you can see, all of the copper has been removed. Now, to stop the etching process, this must be thoroughly rinsed. To remove the mask, a small amount of acetone and Q-tips or paper towels can be used to remove the mask. I will first begin by adding a small amount of acetone to the tip of a Q-tip. Then proceed to take the acetone to the traces and remove the plastic toner. As you can see, the finished product isn't perfect. Using the etching method to produce printed circuit boards leaves behind many very small pits in the traces. Some of the traces may not also be perfect. Some of them may have holes, and some traces may be incomplete. Using the etching method to make printed circuit boards can be very easy if you have the right materials, although having a CNC router decreases the amount of time involved to make one of these and also increases the amount of precision that you can have in your finished product.